Hello friends and welcome to my channel Iballdesigningdeveloper. So do you want to learn what are numbers in Java? So in this video we will be covering up that what are numbers, how to use them, and basically what types of numbers you will see today in this video of Java. So in this video we will be covering up two types of number, integer values and floating type values. So we will be covering that what are integer type, what are floating type, and we will be also seeing that how we can use these numbers in Java if we are working with it. So I hope you'll be enjoying this video from start. So if you enjoy this video and if you understand this, so remember to hit a like, and if you're new on this channel, hit the subscribe button, and after subscribing hit notification bell so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading on this channel. And remember to share this video as well so more people can understand that how we can cover up these things using different languages and using Java as well. So now what we are waiting for? Let's move to computer screen and let's get dive into it. So now we are on the computer screen, and like I've told you that in this video I will be telling you that what are numbers in Java. So this is really important thing. Like in this video we will be covering up that what are primitive number types and how they are divided into two groups. Like we were just working on data types, and in data types video as well I have told you that there are two groups in which data type values has been divided, primitive numbers and non-primitive numbers. So in numbers as well, when we are working with Java, there are two groups in which the numbers are divided, or you can say in which the primitive numbers are divided. One is integer type and second is floating point types. So if we understand that what are integer types, so basically integer types store whole number, positive or negative, such as 1 2 3 or 4 5 6 without decimals. Valid types are byte, short, init and long. These are the data types which we use when we are working with integer type values. And then if you talk about that which type you should use, it depends on the numeric value which you are using. Like if I'm using the values which are without decimal, so for that I will be using this integer type which stores whole number. And if we talk about floating point type, so basically floating point type represent number with a fractional part containing one or more decimal. There are two types, float and double. These are the two data types which we use when we are working with floating point type. And floating point type numbers are like if you are using any number with decimal values, that are being called as floating point type numbers, or you can say floating point type values. So now what I'm going to do is now I will be opening my NetBeans IDE, because like you all know that in the previous video when we were just working with Java, we were just using this NetBeans IDE as our main text editor to work with it. So that's why I'll be opening this IDE here. And just after opening this IDE, you need to create one Java file in which we will be adding all our codes here related to numbers in Java. So I have opened this IDE now. So after opening this IDE, you will be getting this starting page. You can close it and then you can just move on to your main file. You can just see in main file in the previous video when we were just working on data types. There I have told you that what are float data types and basically how you can use these float numbers which you are using with decimal values. I will be removing these all things because now we have understood in previous video that if we are working with float values, so actually how we are using float numbers and what are float numbers when we are working with it. So I'll be moving on to my Word document again, and if I move down, these are some integer type byte values which we will be using, and this byte data type which we are using here is called as integer type. So that's why I will be just copying this integer type from here, and then I will be moving on to my NetBeans IDE and I will be pasting it here. After doing same thing, I will be now just removing this system out.println function because I have now already created it here. Now we are using one data type which is of byte, and this will be called as integer type data type which we are using here. And then I have created one variable with this data type of mynum in which I have written the value as 100. You can write any value you want. Then after that I have created one println function in which I have printed this mynum so that I can get this 100 printed in my output. So what I'm going to do is now I will be just running this file, and for running it I will be just pressing right click here and then I will be pressing run file. After pressing run file, you will be seeing that we are getting the output printed as 100, because obviously when we are just printing a data type which is with integer type, so that's why we are just getting the output as 100 printed, because we are using same variable as we are printing it using this println function with system which we normally use in Java when we have to print anything. So I will be moving on to my Word document again, and this is the first integer type data type which we have used of byte. And now I will be moving down and I will be now just using this short data type which is also another type of integer. So I will be just moving on to my NetBeans IDE again. I will be just commenting out this byte data type now, because we have understand that if we are using this byte data type, so actually how we are getting the output. So I will be now using this short mynum, I will be printing this 5000 value here in my output. So normally I have printed this short by using this mynum variable, and I have used this mynum variable in my println function so that I can get the output. I will be just now doing like, I will be just pressing right click on my main.java file in which I have written all these things, and I will be just pressing run file here. You can press shift and F6 as well to run your code or to run your output. And now you can just see when we are running this short data type here, which is another type of integer, so we are getting the output printed as 5000 because in this short data type we are writing the value as 5000. That's why when we are using this println function to print this mynum variable, we are getting the output as 5000 here. Moving on to Word document, again I will be now using another integer type data type which is called as integer. It is a normal integer, you can say, data type which we are using. So I will be just copying this, and again I will be commenting out this data type here, because now we have understand that if we are using short data type, so actually how we are getting the output printed. I will be now just pasting this thing. Now you can just see we are getting this init mynum and this number here which we have written, like here we have written 5000, here we have written 1 lakh. So when I will be printing this 1 lakh in my output, I should be seeing this 1 lakh printed here. So I will be now pressing right click on my main.java file and I will be running it here. After running, you can just see we are getting the output printed as 1 lakh because in mynum variable we have written the value as 1 lakh. That's why when I'm printing this mynum here using this println function, I'm again getting the output printed as 1 lakh. So I hope you understand how we are just using these all integer data types here. Now moving down, now we have understand that how we are using these integer type data types. Now we have to understand if we are using floating point data types, so how we can use them, and if I am using these all floating point type integer data values, so what output I'm getting. So this is the first type of, you can say, floating point data type which we are using here. And now, as I told you in the start, that if you are working with floating point data types, or if you are using any floating point data type value, so for that you need to add point numbers here. Like if I'm using any float number, so floating number will be with decimal values. Like if I'm writing here 5.75, so this will be called as float number. That's why I'm using this float data type here, so that I can get the output printed as 5.75. If I'm using any integer data type here, so I will be not getting the output as 5.75 because it is a float value, and float value does not come with any integer data type if you're using with it. So that's why when I will be running the same thing which I'm using in float value, when I'm running it with integer value or integer data type, I will be getting an error in my output, and I don't want to get an error. That's why I'm using this float data type here. And when I will be just pressing right click on my main.java file to run this file, you will be seeing that the output now we are getting is 5.75. It means that these all things are working and we are getting all the things running perfectly here by using this float point type which we are just using here. So I hope you understand how we are doing it and how we are getting the output. So this is the way to use these all float values here. Now moving down again, so this is another scientific number, a floating data type which you can use here, and you can use it with double float values as well, which is a double float data type. So I will be copying this here, and then I will be moving down. I will be just commenting out this thing here. Then I will be moving down here and I will be using same float value here with double float value, so that I can see if I'm using double float value, so actually what output I'm getting here. So I will be just doing like this, one line space again, and again I will be giving space so that I can get all the things under this float and double float here. So now I will be running this values here which I have printed. One is float and second is double float. So when I'm running these all things, you can just see we are getting number printed as 35,000.0, then it is 1,20,000.0. So we are getting all the things printed as float value because we are using float value so that we can get all the values printed as point numbers, means in decimal values. That's why when I'm using these float values, I'm getting my number printed as decimal values. So I hope you understand how we are printing all these number in decimal value and how we are getting the output printed. So if you have understand how we are just doing these all things, and if you understand that how we can use these float point types and how we can use integer data types here in this video, so remember to hit a like, and if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing, hit notification bell as well, so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I'll be uploading in future. So in this video we have learned that how we can work with numbers in Java, and there are two type of number values which you can use in Java. First is integer type and second is floating point type. In integer type you can use whole numbers, and in floating type you can use decimal values like 5.75, 5.1, and like this. You can use any decimal value you want to. So this is the video in which we have covered up all the things about numbers. So just I'll be meeting you in next tutorial or in next Java video in which we will be covering up more things related to Java. So for today, good, bye.